So my name is Bryce. As you probably know from my earlier video, this will be my second ever video to post on YouTube. Almost famous, aren't I? Um, but today I'm going to be talking a little bit about just my life, I guess, and what's going on in it. I don't know if you can necessarily call this a video blog or vlog. I'm not exactly sure of all the terms on these things. I'm definitely not doing this professionally by any means, but I am. Well, it's Saturday night, and I'm, as you can see, sitting at home alone. There's no one here. My grandma's in the other room, actually, probably watching YouTube videos or on Netflix as well. She's a pretty hip grandmother with her laptop and her iPad. She's pretty decked out. Um, I have a bit of a dilemma, though. My father, who I haven't spoken to in about 6 or 7 years, has recently messaged me, which is awkward to say the least, and not exactly sure where that's going to go, but emotionally, that's all a mess. And then, of course, next semester will be my last semester of high school. That's scary. Good lord. And I guess relationship wise, things are good. That's not turbulent, which you'd think it would be the opposite. But I'm pretty lucky to have something steady. Um, I don't know. I feel like, especially in my life, I don't know if maybe you feel like this in yours. Sometimes I just don't feel like I have anything to attach it to. Like I don't have anything to grab on, and when I feel like I can get my grip on something, it's slippery and inadequate, and I don't feel like I'm holding on quite right. It's like you can't be something without being obsessed over it. I can't be a fan of something without knowing the date and birth of the person who first thought of the idea that birthed the thing. I like they're like I'm never fully enough. I mean, not knowledgeable enough or care enough. I mean, enveloped enough. It's like I don't know enough about English. I love English, but I'm not perfect at it. Or math or science or reading or any of your talents that you don't narrow down the viewpoint and just kind of focus and perfect. Um, I don't I don't do any of that. I have a very broad scope and a varying interests, and if I want to do something, I do it, and if I don't, and um, I feel like my life might be lacking something because I lack this sense of perfection. This need to uh, pin down and focus. And I want that. I mean, I crave it. I crave this. I get maybe because it's portrayed so much to us. There's people that it's like, oh, they know everything about Star Trek, or they know everything about Legally Blonde, or I don't know, Broadway musicals. There's people that's their identity and that's who they are. And I've always wanted to be like, oh, that's me. I'm the Broadway kid. I'm the boy that likes musicals, or the gay boy, or um, the nerd, the reader, the debater. Like I think we want so badly to define ourselves by something that we lose track of all the other great facets to who we are. I mean, I know I do often. It's like I want to think of myself as a writer or someone creative, or this defining trait that I think, God, if I could just focus on that, then I could kind of blow it up and make this billboard of who I am. And it never works out, ever. I mean, maybe it works out for some people, but it sure as hell does not work out for me. Um, because then I just get bored with whatever I'm trying to focus on. I'm like, oh, I've read 6 books in the week, and I don't want to read anymore. I want to sit down and watch Netflix for 6 hours instead. And so then it's like, oh God, I'm not a reader, but I'm obviously I am a reader. Um, and or it's like I watched Supernatural for 5 seasons, and then I was like, I'm not gonna watch it for a while. And then I watched it again, and it's like, well, it's not my life, so can I still say that I like it or that it's part of me? And um, especially with Doctor Who people, or especially if you're on the internet and you understand fandoms, like that stuff is crazy. It's like, oh God, I'm a big fan. And I understand being a big fan or being in a fandom or something, but it comes to a point where it's obsessive. And that's what people show themselves as. Maybe that's not how they see themselves, but that's how they define themselves to others. And I think it's a bit ridiculous. I mean, we have so many talents and pinpoints of ourselves. You know, you can be a writer or a painter or a YouTuber or, I mean, a person who loves movies, a connoisseur of ice cream, of Dunkin' Donuts coffee. I don't care, but don't make that your thing because no one needs a thing. We need to be ourselves, and ourselves are all these little things compiled into one person. That's kind of the base concept of anatomy, right? We're a bunch of different molecules and atoms composed together to make this beautiful, spontaneous thing that is ourselves. Um, I think embrace it. I don't know, embrace the fact that you're not obsessed with anything and you just kind of jump from varying interests to varying interests. And I'm not saying don't be passionate because that's great, but at the same time, don't be passionate to the point where you're narrow minded or narrow goaled, you know? Because I don't know if you've ever played Super Mario Brothers. You know that in your game you have your next goal or you have the next star to reach, and you hop from one point to another to a point to another, and it comes to a point where it's like you can, if you go back through to see how you reached the goal, you can do it. It's simple and it's easy. And the first time going through, you're like, God, this is hard. And then you go through it again and again and again, and it's boring. And I think when you obsess over something, it's kind of like going to reach that star again. It's like, okay, you're gonna memorize the step to get to this point, to this point, to this point, and then it's like you know how to do it, and it's no longer interesting. But you can tell someone the step by step basics. But what? I mean, you're just re-reaching the same star. You're still getting the same goal. I mean, it's still the same end. So why not just get the star once, move on to a different game, and then conquer that? Instead of obsessing over the same star. I don't know. Leave your comments below and share your whatever you're feeling or whatever you think. I don't know. Thanks.